Hey, that's Declan Goff. I'm Danny Cunningham. And Declan,
Daniel.
the Twins blew it again yesterday. The bullpen that was allegedly fixed, they got Sam Dyson, they got Sergio Romo's, and they still gave up home runs.
Yeah. Sergio Romo has been pretty much money since he got here. Just 2 hits allowed coming into that game before the 3 straight hits and eventually the 3-run bomb. He's been awesome, but it's also, I think he pitched on back-to-back days, and there's just clearly a terrible trend going on with Twins bullpen members being overused and being used on consecutive days, and the results not being too favorable on those consecutive days. I know Taylor Rogers has really struggled in that role. We saw that with Sergio Romo yesterday. I don't blame Baldelli for wanting to use a higher leverage guy in a spot where the top of the order was up and you were up
It was
2
a high
runs.
leverage situation.
So you got to have your big guys up there, and I didn't mind seeing Romo go out there, but tough one to swallow, especially when you knew the Cleveland Indians already had lost going into that inning, and a missed opportunity for the Twins.
Very much so a missed opportunity. Could have had a game and a half lead in the division. Now it's only half game, so that division could potentially flip back tonight. The Indians are in New York, and the Rangers will play host to the Twins. But also, I think the thing that probably gets overlooked yesterday is just how bad the Twins are defensively. I think they have the 6th most errors in baseball, and that's saying a lot when you have a lot of really bad teams. This is a team that they hit a lot of home runs and they hit the ball really well, but they're not very good at much else.
I don't understand where the regression in the fielding has taken place, because they started off the year pretty strong defensively in the first month or 2 of the season, and something has just happened where they have just hit a wall, and it's not even errors, it's mental gaffes in the field that are just shocking, like things you wouldn't even see maybe even a high school baseball team do, and they're not making the smart play at all. And we saw it last night with Polanco having a couple errors. I know C.J. Cron is a guy who's been able to really bail out a lot of those bad throws, and I know he would wank one back with the one in the 8th hitting to the first batter that started that rally for Milwaukee. But yeah, you'd like to see the fielding get cleaned up. And Manny Hill walks in to grab some headphones.
Hi, Danny.
But yeah, there's Manny.
He didn't make an error.
He was fine. He did a routine play. So yeah, you'd like to see them make more conscious plays, and without Byron Buxton being back too, it's just you don't have your get out of jail free card essentially in the outfield. So
yeah,
tough
they need help.
to be in.
They need help in a lot of areas. I think that the only thing you can say is going well right now is the hitting. They're
Yeah.
hitting the ball well still, but they're not making the plays they should be making in the field, and they're not pitching the way that they should be pitching.
Right.
So Michael Pineda coming off the injured list tonight. He's going to start against Texas. We'll see how that goes. Not overly confident in anyone's first start off the IL, especially when you don't have a rehab appearance.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
It's a little interesting to see. I wouldn't be confident in tonight.
Yeah.
I would feel more confident in him moving forward, but the first start, at least in my opinion, is something that tends to be a little shaky.
It seemed more like a phantom IL stint than it was like.
But I don't know that it
regular
was, because if it was, you would have started him instead of Martin Perez the other day.
Probably.
And you probably really couldn't afford to put your second best pitcher on the IL heading into this stretch.
And I know he's rehabbing the Tommy John from 2 years ago still, and he's been a lot more effective here in the last 3 months after what you would have expected him to be in the first few months of the season. Texas has been slumping lately. I think they've only won like 1 of their last 7 games. They've been struggling a little bit. Cleveland's in New York for 7 games, 4 against the Yankees, 3 against the Mets, right? I believe is what's going on there. So big opportunity for the Twins if they can capitalize on a weaker or a vulnerable right now Rangers team. But Cleveland's going into New York. That should be a fun series regardless of you're a Twins or an Indians fan. I mean, it's Cleveland. It's power pitching versus power hitting. Should be a fun one in the Bronx for 4 games as well.
Certainly should be. And the Indians do get Yasiel Puig back tonight after
Nice.
he missed the last 3 games thanks to that brawl he was involved in after he was traded, because the Cincinnati Reds just didn't pull him out of the game.
Was 3 games the right amount for
It
that
was
suspension?
3 too many.
3 too many for you? Okay.
3 too many.
Not even he should have not been punished at all.
He should have been in the clubhouse if the Reds had done this correctly. He should have been in the clubhouse packing his things so he could drive to Cleveland in the morning.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
instead, the Reds kept him on the field, and he got in a fight. So thanks, Cincinnati.
Thanks, Cincy. Well, from one Ohio team to the other, right? I mean, works out.
They're pretty much Kentucky.
Okay. Is that just the other side of the state for you?
Most people in Ohio don't like Cincinnati.
Gotcha.
Cincinnati is like the ugly stepchild.
I'm trying to think like that might be like East Grand Forks for Minnesotans. Like
Could be. Never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. So it might be the same kind of thing. It's basically North Dakota. But
yeah,
it isn't.
Cincinnati is. It's pretty much Kentucky.
Right.
But that's Declan Goff. I'm Danny Cunningham. This has been Cluster Fun. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't know who's going to be in tomorrow, but the show will go on.